Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another awesome episode of On the Couch. I'm Siobhan Clark, and I'm your host. And tonight we have yet another wonderful group of guests who will be joining me on the couch. In a few minutes, we will meet our first guest. He is a politician. He's been noted for his open, candid way of sharing information with the community and the strong relationships that he has groomed over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Lieutenant Colonel David A. Burch.
Nice to see you.
Colonel Burch.
Yep.
I don't know what to say. I'm speechless.
Why?
Because you're here.
You ask and I answer.
Okay, well, there you have it. When did you enter politics?
I entered politics in 1997.
Okay.
Just prior to the general election. Mm-hmm. I had retired as CEO of the regiment, and I had a horrible minister. I won't call his name because he's retired now, but he was my incentive, really, and I decided that I could do a better job than he, and I decided that the PLP could be a better government than there's other people, and so I entered the fray.
So what do you think now of PLP with everything that's happening in the community? What are your thoughts? Because you're running again, yeah?
I'm running again. I've always been PLP, in spite of the challenges that I have with the PLP, because I sincerely believe that their core beliefs and philosophies are the best for this country, even today. I think we made some mistakes in terms of how we communicate that to folk.
Okay.
And that's why some people are a little despondent, but I think we can fix that.
Okay.
I believe that we should take our people with us on the journey. I also believe that we're not gifted, those who choose for elected office, shouldn't be placed on a pedestal.
Okay.
They should be the chief servants. And I fault very much our community who allow some of us to get away with that.
Okay.
They elect them, and then they go away, and they don't hold them accountable until they come to the next election. And I want to try and change that in the constituency where I'm running.
Absolutely. Do you think that PLP will have another chance?
Of course.
Yeah?
I think that the election is one on the doorstep.
Okay.
You hear a whole lot of noise in the media, and you hear a whole lot of noise in the community, but you have to talk to people where they are. And I've been canvassing since October when I won the primary.
Yes.
And I'm very much in friendly territory at the moment. I haven't actually gone into the belly of the beast, but I'm going to go there too. But I think that you also are able to allay a lot of people's misconceptions and misconcerns about the noise that they hear. And you can educate them. And I think that we will be given an opportunity to continue to govern, because when people compare what we've done and where we've come from and where we want to go with those who wish to replace us, there really will be no choice.
Okay. Now, some people feel that there's a bunch of old follies that are in politics and that we need a new generation to, lead the country.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
I fully agree. I have a whole cotillion of young people who I am cultivating and grooming and encouraging to get into politics. You're not going to change the conversation. You're not going to change the attitude that people have about politicians.
Yes.
And by the way, I don't consider myself a politician.
Okay.
I consider myself a parliamentarian. And there's a difference.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
And I want to change the conversation too.
Yes.
Because a lot of the young people that I talk to that are interested in politics want to serve. They don't want to do it for their life work.
Yes.
And I think that if you change the conversation and if you change the motivation and if you get people to understand that this is about participation, you're not electing people to send them off to make decisions for you for the next 5 years. Of course it is. And you should have a balance between age and experience and youth and inexperience. And I can tell you that one of the most encouraging things for me in our current government is the appointment of Mark Bean as a minister of the government.
Okay.
And I've said to a lot of young people, model yourself after his example. And his example is one of, he isn't caught up with all the hype of being a minister. And, you know, one day you're nobody, next day everybody's, calling you minister like you know something different and you don't. He is very much down to earth, and he does his homework. And more important than that, he explains his ministry and his work in language that my people can understand. And that really is the key, you know.
And I love the way that you say, my people. What makes you so unique is the fact that, you know, you're not afraid to speak your mind. You're not afraid to speak up for the people. You know, how do you... What I'm trying to say is there are probably people who appreciate that, and then there are people who do not. And they may find you rude and blunt. And
well, I think that's changed, you know, because I have a memory. A lot of people in this country don't. I remember when we first came into government, and many people in this country who now think that I have something to offer believe that I only had two skills. Carrying a woman's purse and giving foot rubs to Dame Jennifer. Okay? I remember. No, I do not. I do not. But people, you know, accepted what the media perception and creation of me was. And oftentimes people who know me, even if they don't agree with everything I say, and nobody should, I don't sometimes. I say some things and I think, you didn't say that, did you? But the reality is that I think that, you know, you raise the conversation if you can get more people involved in this process who just simply tell the truth, no matter what it is. And I think that people eventually get to that point where they would prefer a little bit of what they might call rudeness, as long as they know that, you know, what comes out of your mouth is in fact real. The truth. And that to me is the most important thing. I can't change who I am because then I become phony. And everybody who knows me throughout my life will tell you, I've been the same, I've been this way since the day I was born. I've been telling people what to do. I've been speaking my mind. I've been telling the truth. And I've been telling it in a way that is comfortable for me.
Did you get in trouble a lot when you were younger?
Of course.
Well, you know, the reason I ask that, sir, is because, you know, a lot of times we are quick to label children ADHD. You know, we put all sorts of labels on kids. We put the kids who are outspoken leaders, if you wish. We put them to the side and say they're rude. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I spend a lot of time, separate and apart from politics, involved with young people, particularly young boys. I started with godchildren, and I said once publicly that, you know, children should know that they have a lunatic who's attached to them, who loves them, but is full crazy. You do, and I mean, that's been my experience. That's been my experience. I knew that my parents were full crazy. I knew they loved me, and I knew where the line was, so that, you know, if I crossed the line, I knew that, you know, I knew that what was coming. And so it's important that young people today understand that, you know, people care about them. And so I spent a lot of time in a school not too far from here where one of my godchildren goes. And he acted up, and I put in my BlackBerry, and I turned up at school. And, you know, and you have to be able to do that. And so you can't change the conversation that we're having and some of the challenges that we're facing in the community unless we as adults step up to the plate and say that, you know, we are responsible for children and we are responsible for their raising. I was involved in this Stop the Violence, Stop the Crime event yesterday, which went on, and it was amazing.
At St. David's?
In St. David's. It was amazing. I had a minor role in it, just trying to organize stuff. But because of the weather, we had some conversations early in the day. We said, this is the rain day, this is today.
Today is the day.
Today is the day. And it went ahead. And what was so impressive for me and really confirmed the message, and for everybody who was involved in organizing it, is that not only did you have families come out, but you had more fathers with their children, little people in arms and little people walking around. And I mean, it just was such a positive vibe. And we have to replicate that across this country if we're going to fix some of the challenges that we're facing right now with young people. Not just law and order. You can't, that's not going to fix it for us.
That's right.
You've got to have that, but you've also got to have the intervention at the family level and try and provide young people with the means and the vehicle and the love and the caring and the nurturing and the guidance that is required. And sometimes that means acting foolish.
Acting crazy.
But if it's done with love, I think the message oftentimes gets through. I spent 20 years in the regiment. There isn't a soul, and I locked up a whole lot of people. But there isn't one of those people today that I don't have that coverage looking to get even with me. In fact, the reverse is the case. I often see people who had to be disciplined, who say thank you.
Yes.
And they understand it now because they now have their own little people. And they understand that, you know, if these are the rules and you say if you cross this line, this is what I'm going to do, then you must do it.
Now, you brought up the regiment. I have to ask you this.
Sure.
There has been a bit of buzz around, of course, with the situation with the gentleman who's part of the regiment who was found guilty, I believe. What are your thoughts on that? Because you're a regiment man.
Yeah. Nobody, I mean, forget the regiment part of it. As somebody who lives in the village, nobody would accept that sort of behavior from anyone.
Yes.
Okay? And so, having been found guilty, I think you have to go through the legal process. And I would be the first person to say that the law and the consequences of one's actions must be followed. And that's somebody that I knew very well.
Yes.
Worked with them both in the regiment and outside of the regiment.
But right
and I'm
is
disappointed.
Right. Yeah. Right is right, wrong is wrong.
Yeah, right is right and wrong is wrong. I mean, I'll give you a good example of where I come from. Because the people, again, that know me, when I first became CEO of the regiment, my mom used to be involved in the community, and she used to get the regiment man to participate in all her activities.
Okay.
And when I became CEO, I used to live downstairs, she came downstairs and she said, you know, I'd like to have the regiment man. I said, you must write to the commanding officer.
Follow the process.
And she thought about it. She said, but that's you. I said, you must write to the commanding officer. She wasn't too happy with me for about a month. And then I explained to her that, you know, if you write to the commanding officer, period, whether it's your son today, whoever it is tomorrow, the person that follows me will say that, oh, no, she had to write to her son, and then they're going to go back further so that they make sure it wasn't just me, and they'll see that CEOs before me she wrote to, and she got it. And I blamed her, and I said, you know, you can't expect for me to be any different. Yeah. That's how you and my dad raised me.
Absolutely. So you come from good upbringing.
Yeah, like that's how I roll. And my friends know that, you know, I mean, my friends, when I had responsibility for immigration, a very good lawyer friend of mine who does a lot of legal work, and people went to her, gravitated towards her because they say, your friends. She said, oh no, are you foolish? I'm not asking him to do me any favors because I know that he's going to give me more licks because I know him as opposed to somebody who doesn't.
The level of expectation.
If it follows the rules, if it deals with the rules, I know the answer I'm going to get from it.
Yes.
But I'm not getting a different answer because he's my friend he's my child's godfather.
Well, sir, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. Please promise me that in the future you'll come back and join me on the couch.
If you invite me, I'll come.
Okay. Well, the invitation's out there. Shall I BB you? Because I hear you talking about BlackBerry.
No. No, you can't BB me. You have to email me. I don't do none of the other communication
no
means.
Facebook, no Twitter.
None of that. And the people that leak me and say, you know, I say, if you got your email address, I email you back and say, that's the only thing I can do.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining
pleasure.
me on the couch. Ladies and gentlemen, shortly we'll meet our second guest for this episode of On the Couch.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Because I think we need to develop our own style.
Absolutely.
Our Bermuda style, and then suit it to our children, our physical strengths, and just grow with it.